Well, hey folks, D-Roy Cruz here on my Big D channel. Had a beautiful day today, my day off, Monday. I was up at the mall at a business meeting. I'll be doing that in another video right after this one on one of my other channels. But I was up at the mall, and while I was up at the mall, I decided to, before I got back on the train, I decided to go to Michael's. I told, the lady I was having the business meeting with, I says, it's my day off, I'm at the mall, I'm not walking out of here, even though I don't have the funds, I'm not walking out of here empty-handed, I'm buying something. So I went to the mall, and I ate, and we had our business meeting, and then I went to Michael's. You walk outside the mall, and you walk about a mile down the street, and it's right there behind Giant Eagle, and I went in there, and I could have sworn that Artist Loft alcohol markers were Hobby Lobby. I could have sworn I got those at Hobby Lobby, but I guess I was wrong. I got the Art Skills markers at Hobby Lobby. These ones here, I got at Michael's. So I was glad to see them in sets at Michael's. And I decided to grab 2 sets. I figure, okay, 2 sets is going to cost me $40 because they're $20 for a set of 6, depending on what colors there are. Some are $19 and some are $20 and some. So I ended up spending all together with paper and some other items. I got 2 loose markers, and I got 2 sets of 6, so and some paper, and it ran me probably about $66 and something when I got done. The Artist Loft markers, I hear good things about them, equals amount of good things about them, and equals amount of bad things about them. And the only bad thing you hear about them is that the nibs are too soft, that they're not long lasting, they tend to bleed, and they tend to fray is the word. They tend to fray. Now, one of my markers, one of my favorite colors, which is like the tan color, that's not the exact name of it, it's a tan colored one that I used. I'm just getting into this marker stuff. But the tan colored one that I use, when I first got into these, I was at Michael's probably about 3 weeks ago, and I got into the water-based markers first, and then I heard how, if you're going to use markers to do artwork, you can't beat Copics. And then I heard that the water-based markers are good to use in conjunction with watercolor or as watercolor. And I have the Tombows, and I have the Faber-Castell watercolor markers. My problem with them is that they don't work like, Neocolor 2s or watercolor pencils or Inktense pencils or nothing like that. They don't blend well with water the way other water soluble media does. So I wanted to see what the big deal was about these alcohol markers, because I have a bunch and most of them are generic. But the thing about them is some are good for like just permanent markers, to mark something, make a poster or something. They don't have blendability, but they're good markers for like coloring and just writing something down over a small period of time. Okay, especially being I'm not a big marker freak in the first place. But just the other day, I was goofing off with these markers, and I noticed that the Artist Loft markers have very, very, very good blendability. Let me go to the next slide here. Let me see here. Okay. I noticed that the Artist Loft markers are very, very, very blendable compared to the other generic markers that I have. As you can see in this picture here, if you look real closely at how I was able to keep on layering. Now, I'm a comic book artist student. I don't really, I haven't really been working on my book yet, but I'm working on a book, a couple books, in fact. But right now, I've just been testing out my mediums, and I'm a water soluble person. That's what I'm into. I'm into the Neocolor 2s and the Inktense. Those are my two main products that I use the most. And then I also am in the oil pastels and acrylic and a little bit of watercolor, because all that's water soluble. But mainly the Neocolor 2s and the Inktense pencils is my medium. That's what I could fill up sketchbooks day after day, all day long, 24/7. Okay, with just Neocolors and Inktense over and over and over and over again, back to back. That's my thing. But I've been getting into markers lately because after trying out the Tombow and the Faber-Castell watercolor markers, I realized that without water, these markers are very vibrant, and you can draw some incredible pieces. And then when you add water, if you're very careful how you add water, you can really, 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 really stain a sketch together and get some amazing results. It's just beautiful, and I got a bunch of junk over there that will illustrate that. But getting back to it, not to hold you long, these Artist Loft alcohol markers got me into markers. Let me say that again. These Artist Loft markers got me into markers. These generic markers I got, like the Art Skills, and there's a couple other brands I have over there. I keep them in the little drawer that they're in, and I don't bother them. But like the other day when I was testing out these markers and trying to create something, I noticed how blendable the artist Loft was. So therefore, again, the artist Loft might not beat Copics, but if you're looking for a good marker and you're not a marker freak like I am, see, that's just like me. Like, people are so into Copics that if you use anything else, okay, they get lost, and they just, they think that that marker is the worst thing ever, but only Copics operate like Copics. Matter of fact, some people are working so long with Copics that that's all they know, and sometimes when they go down a notch in markers and get away from Copics for a little bit, they realize that there are some things that are cheap about cheaper brands of markers that are good for your drawings or good for, marker art compared to Copics. And so a lot of professional artists are using Copics for professional art mixed with the other brands like Artist Loft and the Blick brand and all like that. And I'm pretty sure that the Blick brand is better than Artist Loft. So far, I have not had any trouble with these Artist Loft markers. What people are calling fraying, I used the other day as I was using the Artist Loft markers, I did notice that the hairs of the nib started to separate themselves. I guess that's what you mean by fraying. And so the tip wasn't that pointy. But even though I could see where the marker started to spread out a little bit from the nib, it didn't affect the drawing that I was doing. So, and I'm not no marker artist, but it didn't affect the drawing that I was doing. So what I did was I took a piece of paper towel, and I kind of like threaded it back together, and it was fine. It's still fine. I just got done using them a few minutes ago. Same marker that I was using that was supposedly fraying is fixed. It's fine. Just squeeze it back together, that's all. Now, a lot of people say, hey, well, for the money, I shouldn't have to go through that. Well, you're right, but, you want cheap, you have to, be more creative and kind of learn how to duct tape things, if you know what I mean. So that's all I want to say in this video. If you're like me, where you're not a marker person, so you don't want to spend a lot of money on Copics, because marker art is not your main medium, so you just do it for, like, on your day off, or do it when you go traveling or whatever. You want to take a bag of markers with you or whatever, that's fine. Why spend all that money on Copics if you're not a marker art freak, like, Drawing with Jazza is, or something like that, But I do like, if you see this picture here, the one with all the colors in it on the left, I took every color in there, and as it dried, I was able to go back over the light colors with a dark color and take a light color and soften the color, and I was able to just keep going over it and over it again like that. The middle one with the mixture of green and blues, actually that blue in the middle of that circle, the one in the middle, that was actually red. Or no, it was orange. And as it dried, I kept going over it 2 more times, and finally with a dark blue, and that's the way it came out, because the orange color was really throwing it off. Same thing with the oranges on the right. I had a color there that didn't match with the orange, so I kept going over it with other colors, layering it with other colors until it became more in conjunction with what else is in the circle. So I have not been able to do that with the other generic markers that I have in the drawer over there because they don't have any of blendability. So again, if you're looking for a marker, you want to get into markers, but you're not a marker freak like a lot of people are. Artist Loft got me into markers. Because of Artist Loft, I now am interested in Copic markers because of Artist Loft. I'm now interested in trying out Blick markers because of Artist Loft. I'm now interested in getting into marker art because of Artist Loft, because of the blendability of these markers, because to me, I'm a pastel kind of person because of the blendability. I'm a paint person because of the blendability. A water-soluble person because of the blendability that you can obtain. And that is why I didn't get into markers till just recently, because Artist Loft gave me a taste of what it's like to go Copic. But the Artist Loft, the Spectrum Noir, Illustrator, and the Blick have a better blendability status, and they're competitive with Copics. So therefore, now I have a taste and I understand more about marker art now. And I'm going to be getting some Blick, and I'm going to be getting more Spectrum Noir. But after my business meeting, I ran out of funds, but I still wanted to do something for myself today. Wanted to get some toys to play with. So I stopped at Michael's, which was a mile down the road, walked down there, and got these markers. I was surprised to see them in several sets the way they were. And I decided that, you know what, there's my, my little fun and games for my day off, for my 2 days off, something to do. Let's get into marker art thanks to Artist Loft, okay? And I know there's better markers out there. But again, Artist Loft got me into markers, and now I'm curious to learn how far I can go with this medium compared to my other mediums. Okay, that's enough. D-Roy Cruz, thank you for watching. Haven't put anything on this channel for a while. There it is. Okay. Talk to you later. Be looking for more. Thank you.